He only meant to save her life. But when the tiny alien girl gasped, blinked, and whispered, "Human, why is my stomach glowing?" That's when every law of biology, physics, and common sense went straight out the nearest airlock. The night was sharp and alive, neon veins running through the city like it was a living thing. Cade wasn't supposed to be on the rooftop. He wasn't supposed to be anywhere near the alien embassy tower either, especially after the last incident involving a diplomatic drone, a pot of coffee, and 3 terrified interns. But curiosity had always been his worst and best habit. He leaned against the railing, watching the sky hum with shuttle traffic. That's when he heard it, a soft thud, like something small and fragile had fallen from a great height. Cade turned. Lying there on the gleaming platform was a girl, or at least something shaped like one. She was barely half his size, her skin faintly luminescent, a cool shade of violet kissed by starlight. Strands of glowing blue filaments ran through her dark hair like living wires. Tiny mechanical cat ears twitched weakly atop her head, and her clothes, some kind of alien combat suit, blinked in broken pulses. Cade's jaw dropped. Hi, you okay?" No response, just the faint shimmer of her chest, rising once, then stopping. "Aw, hell," he muttered. "Don't die on me, space kitten." He crouched beside her, trying to remember the half-hearted CPR training he'd once done for a spaceport job. "Okay, human basics apply. Airway breathing, circulation, except you're like 90% light-up cables and bad decisions." Her pulse was erratic, if that flickering blue glow in her neck even was a pulse. "All right. Here goes nothing." He pinched his nose, leaned down, and pressed his lips gently against hers. Careful, awkward, but sincere. And that's when everything went sideways. A flash of light burst between their faces, like static electricity meeting starlight. The air shimmered. The alien girl jolted upright with a gasp that sent him stumbling back on his hands. Her eyes snapped open, brilliant, glowing turquoise, and locked on his. She blinked once, twice, then she frowned. Why did you put your mouth on mine, human?" Cade raised both hands defensively. "I was saving your life." "You weren't breathing." She tilted her head, her cat-like ears flicking in disbelief. "So your species saves lives by kissing?" "It's not kissing. It's kind of kissing, but not that kind of kissing." She sat up, rubbing her head, the soft hum of her bioluminescent circuits brightening. "Well, whatever you did, it worked." Then she looked down. Her midsection glowed softly, pulsing like a heartbeat. "Wait," she whispered, pressing a small hand to her abdomen. "That's impossible," Cade squinted. "What's impossible?" She looked up at him wide-eyed. "My kind can't reproduce. We were made infertile centuries ago by the engineers. But now the energy core inside me is active." He blinked. "You mean like you're turning on?" Her cheeks flushed violet. "Not that kind of turning on." Cade chuckled nervously. "Sorry, just trying to clarify the medical situation." Her glare could have melted titanium. "You gave me respiration," she said flatly, "and somehow you reactivated my genetic core. That shouldn't be possible." "Well," he said with a shrug, "humans are full of surprises. Mostly bad ones." She sighed and leaned back on her elbows. "This can't be happening. If my people find out, they'll think you did something inappropriate." He finished. Her silence confirmed it. "Great," Cade muttered. "So I save a life and now I'm a galactic father figure." She introduced herself between awkward silences. "Name's Nayari," she said softly. "Scout of the Andrus Clade, or I was, before my ship exploded." Cade winced. "Yeah, I saw the wreck." "You dropped in like a cosmic meteor. Thanks for the reminder," she muttered, flicking her glowing hair out of her face. "So, Nayari, you're sure you're okay? You look, well, aside from the glowing stomach thing, mostly fine." She poked his chest with a finger. "You think fine is how I look? My entire species has been extinct for 2 centuries, and I just woke up glowing from a human mouth breath." "Hey," Cade said, grinning, "at least you're alive. Plus, you've got a great new conversation starter." She raised a brow. "You mean, hi, I was resuscitated by an idiot who might have accidentally impregnated me with light energy?" He laughed. "See? You're already killing it," Nayari groaned. "Humans. You turn every near-death experience into a bad date." "Well, to be fair," he said, smirking, "you did technically wake up in my arms. Technically, I was unconscious, she shot back. Details, he said. She tried not to smile, but failed. Hours passed. They stayed on the rooftop, neon city flickering below like a living ocean. Cade offered her a jacket, which she refused, then accepted after one chilly gust of wind. So, he said, about this whole glowing core situation. Niari exhaled. The engineers who created us, my people, made sure we couldn't reproduce. We were weapons, not lovers. The only purpose of our energy cores was combat. Cade frowned. That's brutal. Yes, she said softly. And now somehow you've reignited that power. My core is active again. I don't know if it means I'm dying or changing. He leaned closer, curious. Maybe you're healing. She looked up at him, eyes flickering with light. You think humans can heal what alien gods broke? He smiled gently. We've been breaking and fixing things since the dawn of time. It's our one universal talent. Niari studied him. For a moment, her expression softened. Then she muttered, You're impossible. Yeah, he said. That's why I'm single. She snorted, a soft, unguarded laugh that startled even her. You joke while I'm in existential crisis? It's a coping mechanism, he said. You should try it. She eyed him suspiciously. You sure you're not trying to flirt with me, human? Hey, he said, hand over his heart. I only flirt with conscious people. She burst out laughing. You're insufferable. And you, he said with a grin, are kind of cute when you're angry. Her glow brightened, betraying her. That's not a compliment I know how to process. The city below hummed with night traffic, but up here it was just them and the strange, pulsing glow of Niari's core. She placed a hand on her stomach again, eyes wide. It's reacting to you, she said softly. Cade raised a brow. Reacting how? Every time you speak, it stabilizes. When you move closer, it gets warmer. He blinked. So what you're saying is, I'm like your life support? Or my malfunction? She replied dryly. He chuckled. Story of my life. They sat in silence for a while, the air charged with unspoken curiosity. Finally, Niari looked at him. If this connection between us continues, the Clade might detect it. They'll come for me. And you think they'll be cool with this? Her expression was grim. They'll kill you first, then dissect me. Right, Cade said. So, a regular Tuesday. Niari blinked. You're taking this very well, lady, he said with a shrug. I once worked maintenance on a reactor that thought it was in love with me. My threshold for weird is galactic. Her laugh came again, warmer this time. You're ridiculous. You say that like it's a bad thing. As dawn approached, Niari's glow dimmed to a faint pulse. Cade found himself watching her, not just the alien glow, but the way her expression shifted from confusion to wonder. You're staring, she murmured, not opening her eyes, just making sure you're still breathing. She cracked an eye open. If you want to kiss me again, you can just say so. He choked. That's not... Okay, that's technically funny, but relax, human, she said, a teasing smile curling her lips. You're blushing. I am not blushing, he lied. She giggled softly. You humans turn red when you lie. How adorably inefficient, yeah? Well, your circuits glow when you're embarrassed. Her eyes widened, and sure enough, her hair lit up brighter. Stop observing me like I'm a science experiment. Sorry, he said, smirking. It's the researcher in me. You're a janitor. Details. By the time morning light crept over the horizon, Niari was leaning against him, half asleep. The city glittered beneath them, indifferent and eternal. Cade glanced down at her faintly glowing core and muttered, Guess CPR really does bring people to life. Her voice was drowsy but clear. If this glow means what I think it does, human, then you've just started a war. Hey, he said softly. Wouldn't be my first one. Her lips curved into a faint smile before sleep claimed her. Cade looked out at the sunrise and sighed. Guess I'm a dad now, he muttered. Karma really has jokes. Cade's first mistake was assuming the tiny, glowing alien girl would disappear with the sunrise. His second mistake was letting her follow him home. By the time he stumbled into his apartment, a half-broken studio with more blinking lights than a malfunctioning shuttle, Niari had already claimed the couch, the blanket, and apparently his phone. Hey, he said, setting down his jacket. That's a communication device, not a toy. Niari didn't look up. She was sprawled upside down on the couch, holographic data dancing in her eyes. Your technology is primitive, she said, swiping through screens faster than he could blink. But oddly, addictive. Addictive. She frowned. Why are there so many pictures of cats pretending to be bred? Cade rubbed his face. That's the internet, Niari. It's the digital abyss where productivity goes to die. She blinked. Humans voluntarily stare at this all day. Yeah, it's kind of our thing. She considered this for a long moment. You are a strange species, he grinned. You're not the first girl to tell me that. She sat up, stretching her glowing limbs, her hair cascading in shimmering ribbons of blue light. So this is where you live? Yeah, Cade said. Don't judge. Rent's cosmic. Niari tilted her head. There are food wrappers, unwashed dishes, and a strange smell. That smell, he said proudly, is victory. And possibly leftover noodles. Her nose twitched. Your definition of victory concerns me. He poured himself a cup of coffee and leaned against the counter. Look, it's not much, but it's home. And right now, you don't exactly have another option. Niari frowned but nodded. Until I understand what your mouth-breathing ritual did to my genetic core, I suppose I'll have to remain with you. He raised an eyebrow. So you're saying we're roommates now? She glared. Do not label me with your primitive social titles. Fine, he said, grinning. Cohabiting interspecies life form it is. Her eye twitched. For the next few hours, Cade tried to work. Tried, because Niari didn't believe in quiet. What is this? She asked, poking at his toaster. That's breakfast technology. And this? She asked, tapping the fridge door like it might bite. Cold storage. Don't! The door opened. Frost puffed out. She squeaked, jumping back. It's a containment unit for frozen death gas. It's a fridge, Niari, she scowled. Your species names dangerous things with cute words. Yeah, he said. It's how we cope with how awful life is. She blinked. That actually makes sense. Later, while Cade fixed a fried circuit on his console, Niari sat cross-legged beside him, watching intently. So, she said casually, when you revived me, did you? He froze. If you're about to say what I think you're about to say, I'm going to need another cup of coffee. She smirked faintly. I was going to ask if your method of respiration includes genetic transfer, he coughed mid-sip. Genetic transfer? Lady, I was saving your life, not filling out a birth certificate. Niari blinked innocently. In some cultures, mouth contact is deeply symbolic. Yeah, well, in mine, it's usually followed by an awkward morning and bad decisions. Her lips curved. So it is a mating ritual, he groaned. Oh, for no. It's first aid! She leaned in closer, studying his face. You're blushing again. That's just the lighting, he lied. She giggled, her circuits flickering playfully. You're kind of fun to tease, human. You're kind of impossible to ignore, alien. Niari, she corrected softly. He met her gaze. Niari, then. For a brief second, the world felt quiet. Too quiet. Then his toaster exploded. What did you do? I was curious. Niari shouted, ducking behind the counter. You don't just stick glowing fingers into electrical sockets. I thought it was a data port. Welcome to Earth, where everything tries to kill you unless it's unplugged. Smoke curled through the air as the toaster gave its final spark. Cade coughed, waving it away. Niari peeked up from behind the counter, her ears twitching. Your domestic appliances are hostile. Tell me about it, he muttered. The coffee machine's been plotting since Tuesday. By evening, they'd settled into an uneasy truce. Her on the couch, him on the floor. Explain something, she said, glancing at him. If your world is so technologically advanced, why is your home so chaotic? Because progress doesn't make people smarter, Cade said, staring at the ceiling. It just gives us more creative ways to screw up. Niari hummed softly. My people believed in perfection. No emotion, no chaos, no mistakes. How'd that work out? She smiled sadly. We went extinct. Ah, he said. Yeah, that tracks. Then it happened again. The glow. Her abdomen pulsed with light, brighter than before. Cade sat up instantly. Okay, that's new. She winced, clutching her stomach. It's resonating. Stronger now. He scrambled closer. Are you in pain? No, it feels like energy surging outward. Should I, call someone? A doctor? A mechanic? She shook her head. No one must know. They'd come for us. Us? He echoed. Yes, she said, breathing unsteadily. Whatever happened between us on that rooftop. It bonded my genetic core to your life force. We're linked. Cade blinked. Linked? Like Bluetooth? She frowned. What is a Bluetooth? Never mind. Just, holy hell, you're saying we're connected? Like psychic soulmates. She made a face. Please never say that word again. Fine. Existential Wi-Fi partners. She snorted despite herself. You have a terrible way with words, human. Yeah, he said softly, but they seem to make you smile. The light dimmed and Niari relaxed, sinking back into the couch. I don't understand. This should be impossible. My creators designed us to avoid emotional or physical bonds. Well, he said, maybe they didn't account for human stupidity. She gave him a puzzled look. You think your imperfection caused this? I'm saying, he said, leaning back, humans break rules, even biological ones. She tilted her head thoughtfully. Perhaps that's your true power. Chaos wrapped in charm. Cade chuckled. Charm? Coming from you, that's practically a love confession. Her eyes narrowed. Don't flatter yourself, he grinned. Too late. A few hours later, Cade found Niari sitting by the window, staring at the city lights. Her glow reflected in the glass, a soft halo. You're quiet, he said. She nodded. It's strange. I feel your heartbeat. When I focus, it's faint, but there. Creepy, he said, then added, and kinda cool. She smiled faintly. Don't get used to it. When I find a way to separate our cores, this connection will end. Cade shrugged. Guess I'll just have to enjoy the weirdness while it lasts. Niari turned, studying him. You really don't fear what's happening to us? He met her gaze. Fear's boring. Besides, you glow in the dark. That's objectively awesome. Her laughter filled the small apartment like starlight. You're ridiculous, she said again. Hey, he replied. You keep saying that. But you haven't left yet. She hesitated, then looked away. Maybe. I don't want to. They sat together, the hum of the city drifting through the cracked window. Cade leaned his head back, exhaling slowly. So, Niari, he said softly, what happens if your people find out? She didn't answer at first. Then quietly, they'll kill me for corruption, and you for contamination. Yikes, he said. That's not exactly a warm family reunion. She smiled bitterly. My people believe emotion weakens the body. But maybe they were wrong. He looked at her genuinely. I think emotion's what keeps us alive. Her glow pulsed faintly in response, sinking to his words. The clock ticked quietly. Midnight. Cade yawned. You know, for an intergalactic miracle, you take up a lot of couch space. She glanced down at him. You're welcome to share the couch. He blinked. Was that a threat or an invitation? Her eyes gleamed. Both, he laughed, rubbing his neck. You're dangerous, she smiled. You saved me. You'll live. Not with your elbows, I won't, she chuckled. You humans and your sarcasm. And you aliens with your drama. They traded mock glares before both dissolved into laughter. As the night faded, Niari rested her head on his shoulder. Human, she murmured sleepily. If my people detect this energy, they will come. Then we'll hide, he said softly. Or run. Or improvise. You really think you can protect me? He looked down at her glowing form, warmth spreading through his chest. I think I already did, she smiled, eyes fluttering shut. You're impossible. Yeah, he whispered. But I'm your impossible. Cade woke to the sound of something exploding. Again. He sat up, eyes wide, heart racing, half expecting alien assassins, half expecting the toaster's revenge. Instead, he found Niari crouched over his coffee machine, sparks flying, a screwdriver in one hand, and a look of pure mischief on her glowing face. Morning, human, she said without even looking at him. Morning? You mean electrical fire hazard, right? Cade groaned, stumbling toward her. What are you doing to my coffee maker? She blinked innocently. Upgrading it. To do what? Brew plasma. She smirked. Yes. Cade grabbed the machine before it detonated. Okay, rule number 1, stop fixing things that aren't broken. She tilted her head. Everything on this planet is broken, he sighed. Can't argue with that logic. She set the screwdriver down, crossing her glowing arms. Besides, your caffeine ritual is inefficient. I optimized the process for maximum neurochemical output. In English, he said. I made it stronger, he frowned. Stronger coffee? Like how strong? She pointed at the cup. Drink it and find out. He eyed the mug suspiciously. Last time I drank something you made, I saw through time. Niari smirked. You're welcome. Despite his better judgment, Cade took a sip, then immediately regretted all his life choices. Holy stars, he gasped, eyes watering. This is liquid panic. Efficient panic, she corrected, smiling. Your heartbeat increased 20%. Excellent metabolic response. Yeah, well, so did my chance of a heart attack. Niari giggled. You humans can't handle real stimulation, Cade smirked. Oh, I can handle stimulation. Just not in beverage form. She froze for a second, her glow flickering brighter. That sounded suggestive, he grinned. Wasn't it? You're insufferable. You keep saying that, he teased, but you keep hanging out with me. Because I'm studying you, she said quickly. Studying, he repeated. Right. Classic excuse. Later that day, Niari sat cross-legged on the floor, surrounded by scraps of metal, glowing wires, and tools Cade hadn't seen since his mechanic days. What's all this? He asked. A ship, she said matter-of-factly. Cade blinked. You're building a spaceship in my apartment. Correction, she said, tightening a bolt with laser precision. I'm rebuilding a transport pod from the debris outside your city. He rubbed his forehead. You know that's going to attract attention, right? She didn't look up. I'm counting on it. Wait, what? She met his gaze, serious now. They're coming, Cade. My people. I can feel the signal. They're tracing my core's energy signature, he frowned. And your plan is to, what? Build a ship to outrun them? Yes, she said simply. He crossed his arms. Then I'm helping. Niari froze. You don't even know what you're doing, he grinned. Exactly. That's why I'm perfect for the job. She sighed, but her lips curved. You are impossible. Yeah. But you like it. They worked through the afternoon, arguing, laughing, bickering, and, occasionally, accidentally blowing things up. Hand me the plasma coupler, Niari said. He looked around. The shiny thing or the glowy thing? The glowy thing. He picked up the shiny thing. Got it. That's the wrong one. Hey, in human engineering, guessing is a core skill, she groaned. You are a danger to physics. And yet, he said, handing her the correct part, you keep me around. Niari glanced at him, expression softening despite herself. Maybe, because chaos keeps me from thinking too much, he smiled. Then I'm your therapy session with explosives, she laughed. Accurate. As night fell, they stood on the balcony looking over the city. The half-built craft hummed faintly inside, energy pulsing through its veins. You really think you can fix that thing? He asked. I've rebuilt ships from scrap before, she said quietly. But this one, it feels different. How so? She turned to him, her glowing hair shimmering in the moonlight. Because this time I'm not building it to escape. I'm building it to choose, he blinked. To choose what? Whether to leave, she said softly, or stay. He didn't know what to say to that. For once his usual sarcasm failed him, so he just nodded. Then I'll make sure it flies either way, she smiled faintly. You're a strange human, Cade, he shrugged. It's part of the charm. Midnight again. Cade was half asleep on the floor when Niari jolted upright, eyes wide. What's wrong? He muttered groggily. They found me. He sat up instantly. What do you mean, found you? The clade. They've locked onto the resonance frequency of my core. They'll be here within one cycle. Cade's pulse quickened. And that's bad, right? She gave him a look. Very bad. They'll destroy everything to contain this contamination. He stood. Okay, so we need to hide you. Maybe fake your death. Or unplug your glow. You can't unplug my glow, Cade, she said, exasperated. Then we fight. Her eyes widened. You can't fight them. They're faster, stronger, ruthless. I've dated worse, he said. She stared at him, then burst out laughing despite the fear. You're unbelievable. Hey, he said, grabbing a wrench. I'm the guy who resuscitated an infertile alien and accidentally rebooted her genetics. Unbelievable is my middle name. They got to work. Fast. Cade modified drones into decoys, programmed sensors to scramble signals, and attached half his apartment's wiring into the alien pod. You're going to burn down the building, Niari warned. Good, he said. Maybe the rent will finally drop. She gave him a look. This is not the time for jokes. It's always the time for jokes. Especially when we're about to be vaporized, Niari groaned. You deflect fear with humor. Yeah, he said. It's my superpower. Then you're the most powerful being I've ever met, she said softly. He paused, looking at her. You really mean that? She nodded. Yes, you make me feel. Cade blinked. Wow, that's terrifying, she interrupted, smirking. He laughed. Yep, sounds about right. The hum of the pod filled the air. Sparks flickered. The city lights outside dimmed as power rerouted through alien circuitry. Ready? He asked. Niari nodded. Almost. Just one more sequence. Then without warning, the window shattered. A blast of cold wind rushed in. Hovering outside were 3 drones, sleek, silver, and humming with the unmistakable light of the Andrus clade. Niari of the clade, a synthetic voice boomed. You are contaminated, surrender. Cade stepped forward before she could answer. Yeah, sorry, she's busy. Can I take a message? The drones targeted him instantly. Hostile entity detected. Human interference, not authorized. Cade smirked. Story of my life. Blaster fire erupted. Cade dove behind the couch as Niari deflected energy bolts with a glowing field of blue light. The room shook. Sparks flew. Cade, she shouted. Get to the pod. Not without you, he yelled back. She turned, her eyes blazing. I can handle them. He grinned. You've been living with me for 2 days. You should know by now, I don't do orders. He grabbed a pipe, swung it at the nearest drone, and somehow, by miracle or dumb luck, knocked it straight into the wall. Ha! He shouted. Who says humans can't play with aliens? Niari groaned mid-battle. Even your combat dialogue is idiotic. Yeah, but it works! She blasted another drone, the explosion lighting up the room. Only one remained. It hovered closer, scanning them both. Fusion anomaly detected. Cross-species link confirmed. Termination required. Cade's blood ran cold. Oh, that can't be good. Niari grabbed his hand. Hold on. What are you... Before he could finish, she activated the pod's core. Light enveloped them both. When Cade opened his eyes, the apartment was gone. They were inside the half-built ship, floating. Stars shimmered through the transparent hull. Earth glowed beneath them. He turned to her, heart pounding. We did it? Niari nodded slowly, though her expression was troubled. We escaped the first wave, but the clade will not stop. They will chase us until one of us ceases to exist. He leaned back, still dizzy from the jump. Great, no pressure. She looked at him, something tender and fierce in her gaze. You didn't have to fight for me, he smiled. Yeah, I did, Niari blinked. Why? He hesitated. Because you make me feel like the universe isn't as empty as it looks. Her glow flickered softly. That's very human of you. Thanks, he said. I try. The stars stretched before them, endless, bright, dangerous. Niari stood at the controls, her hair floating like liquid light. Cade joined her. So, where to now? She smiled faintly. Someplace where the clade won't find us. He grinned. That narrows it down to what, 3 galaxies? 2.5, she said dryly. He chuckled. You're getting the hang of sarcasm. I've been studying the best. He leaned back, smirking. Flattery will get you everywhere, alien. She looked at him, eyes glowing with amusement. We'll see about that, human. As their ship disappeared into the vast dark, Niari reached out, brushing her fingers against his. Your touch, she murmured, still stabilizes my core. He smiled. Guess I'm your lucky charm. She tilted her head. More like my chaos catalyst. Same thing, he said. Her laughter filled the cockpit as the stars bent around them, and somewhere deep within, the glow inside her pulsed stronger, syncing perfectly with his heartbeat. They thought they'd escaped, but when the stars around them began to move, forming a glowing symbol older than both their species, Niari's eyes widened with dread. It's not a constellation, she whispered. It's a summons. Cade leaned forward. A what now? Her hands trembled over the console. My tribe has found us. The stars twisted into a pattern, 3 spirals connected by light, like a sigil made of pure gravity. The ship's readings spiked. Cade's instruments screamed. I thought you said they couldn't trace us through quantum drift, he shouted. I said they shouldn't have been able to. Niari snapped back, typing commands faster than human eyes could follow. But they did. Which means we're screwed? She glanced at him, pale glow flickering. Which means they've marked you too. Cade blinked. Marked me? I didn't even sign up for the loyalty program. Niari didn't smile. They think we've bonded, he frowned. We have bonded. You practically grafted your alien heartbeat to mine. Not like that, Cade. They believe the merge between us is sacred, an irreversible link between a warrior and her chosen protector. He hesitated. So, like marriage? Her voice went deadly quiet. Worse, it's a declaration of ownership. Cade's jaw dropped. You're telling me your people think I'm your property? Not mine, she said, looking at him with unreadable eyes. Theirs. Moments later, the ship was pulled out of hyperspace like a rag doll. Gravity bent. The hull screamed. Then suddenly, they were still. Cade staggered to his feet and looked out the viewport. A fleet surrounded them, sleek silver vessels shaped like blades, hovering in perfect formation. At the center was a massive command ship, its core pulsing with living energy. Niari's voice was barely a whisper. The Clade-High vessel. The Tribunal. Sounds friendly, Cade muttered. They've come to reclaim me, and to erase you. He crossed his arms. Yeah, that's not happening. They didn't have a choice. A beam of light swallowed their ship, pulling them aboard the flagship. Cade reached for his wrench instinctively, because in his experience, a wrench solved about half of life's alien problems. Put that down, Niari said softly. They'll see it as a threat. They can see whatever they want, he said. If they touch you, I swing. She looked at him, long, silent, conflicted, and whispered, You really don't know what you mean to them. He smirked. I don't even know what I mean to you. Her glow dimmed slightly. That's the problem. They were escorted down a corridor that looked grown, not built. Metal veins pulsing with biolight, walls breathing faintly as if alive. Alien guards surrounded them, their armor humming with contained power. At the end waited the Tribunal. 3 towering figures made of shifting energy. Their forms half solid, half ethereal. One spoke, its voice vibrating through the air. Niari of the Third Clade, you return marked by contamination. Explain yourself, Niari knelt instantly. Elder Cores. I survived the crash through human intervention. She gestured toward Cade, revived my core matrix. He is not a threat, not a threat. Another voice boomed. He touched the sacred energy. He bears the mark of resonance. He belongs to the Clade now. Cade frowned. Okay, I'm gonna stop you right there. I don't belong to anyone, especially not a bunch of glowing space gods. A ripple of silence followed. Then the first figure leaned closer, its light focusing on him. You defy the mark? Cade grinned. Damn right I do. Then you defy destiny. Before he could blink, a pulse of energy shot through the air. Cade braced for pain, but Niari threw herself in front of him, absorbing the blast. Her glow shattered like glass. Niari! He shouted, catching her before she hit the ground. She gasped, clutching his shirt. Don't fight them. Cade, please. He looked up, fury burning in his chest. She saved your lives, and this is how you repay her. She brought corruption into the Clade. It must be cleansed. Yeah? He growled, standing tall. Then I guess you'll have to go through me. The chamber vibrated. Cade felt his heartbeat sink again with Niari's weak pulse. Energy surged through his veins, alien, electric, unstoppable. The Tribunal flinched. Impossible. The resonance is merging. Niari's voice was weak but urgent. Cade, stop. It's too dangerous. He shook his head. You risked everything to save me. Now it's my turn. He stepped forward. The floor cracked under his boots. The air around him shimmered with raw alien light, the same energy that once belonged only to her. The elders recoiled. He channels the core without training. He will destroy himself, Cade smirked. Then I'll go out doing what humans do best, breaking your rules. The blast that followed wasn't clean or graceful. It was chaotic. Energy tore through the chamber, hurling guards across the walls. Cade's skin glowed faint blue as he raised his hands, instinctively shielding Niari. She looked up through the light, tears glimmering in her alien eyes. Cade, what are you doing? He smiled, strained but certain. Making my own mark. The Tribunal voices echoed in fury and awe. The human is bound. The mark is complete. A beam of light struck Cade's chest, engraving a glowing symbol across his heart, the same tri-spiral pattern from the stars. The pain was indescribable. But when he fell, Niari caught him this time. When he opened his eyes again, they were on the ship. No fleet, no Tribunal. Just silence. He sat up slowly, groaning. Did we survive? Niari was beside him, her glow dim but steady. They released us. Released? He echoed. After I blew up their court? She nodded. You didn't destroy them. You completed the rite. The mark means you're no longer human in their eyes. You're part of the clade. A bonded equal. He blinked. Wait, equal? Nyari looked away. It means they can't harm you, or me. Ever again. Cade smiled faintly. So we're safe? She hesitated. From them, yes. But not from what comes next. Outside the viewport, the stars shimmered differently now, brighter, almost watchful. Cade flexed his hand and faint light followed his movement. So this mark thing, he said, is it permanent? Nyari nodded. Our energy signatures are linked. Forever, he blinked. Forever, forever? Like, till death? Her gaze softened. Beyond death, he tried to grin. Guess I'm stuck with you then. She tilted her head. You sound disappointed. Disappointed? He smiled. Nah, just wondering how long it'll take before you start fixing my coffee machine again. Nyari giggled, a rare musical sound. Tomorrow morning. They spent hours drifting in silence, surrounded by the hum of the stars. At some point, Nyari turned to him. Do you regret it? He looked at her, serious now. Saving you? Becoming marked. He thought about it, about the chaos, the near death, the shock of touching something greater than himself. Then he shrugged, not even a little. She smiled softly. You humans, always chasing meaning where there is only accident. Maybe, he said, reaching out and brushing her cheek. Or maybe we just see meaning where others are too afraid to look. Her glow warmed under his touch. You shouldn't touch me when I'm unstable, he smirked. You've been saying that since the day we met. And you've been ignoring it. Exactly. Hours later, as Nyari slept, Cade stood at the viewport. The mark on his chest pulsed faintly with light. He whispered to himself, she was just a dying alien girl. And now she's my entire universe. Behind him, Nyari stirred, half awake. Cade, yeah? She smiled sleepily. If we die tomorrow, he turned. Don't finish that sentence. I'm glad you found me. She finished anyway. He felt something tighten in his chest, something more binding than the mark, more eternal than the stars. I didn't just find you, he said quietly. I chose you. Her glow deepened at those words, flickering in rhythm with his heartbeat. Then I'll stop running. Good, he said softly, lying beside her as the ship drifted into the dark. Because wherever you go, I'll follow. The stars stretched endlessly ahead. The mark on their chests glowed brighter, merging into one shared pulse of light. For the first time in her life, Nyari didn't feel like a weapon. And for the first time in his, Cade felt like more than just a man. They weren't human or alien anymore. They were something new, something dangerous, something beautiful. Epilogue. The legend of the marked pair. Centuries later, alien travelers would whisper stories of a human who defied the clade, who touched the core of a dying warrior and lived. Some said they became guardians of a hidden world. Others claimed they disappeared into the heart of a star. But every story agreed on one thing. The human and the alien didn't just survive. They chose each other. When Nyari woke up with a glow in her abdomen and accused him of genetic infiltration by mouth to mouth, Cade realized two things. Alien science was weird. He might just be the first man in history to get someone pregnant accidentally with CPR. Cade, we need to talk. It was early. The ship's lights were still dim, and the stars outside hung lazy in the viewport. Cade sat half awake, coffee in one hand, trying to convince the toaster module to stop turning his breakfast into charcoal. Morning sunshine, he said. You look like you've seen a ghost. Or, I don't know, a space tax auditor. Nyari stood in the doorway, her tiny frame glowing faintly. Her expression was complicated, like she was angry at physics itself. You infected me, Cade blinked. Excuse me? You gave me something. He nearly choked on his coffee. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I think we should back up a few galaxies. I gave you what now? Life, she said, voice trembling. Inside me. Cade froze. Oh, hell no. No. That's not how this works. I gave you air, remember? Not, DNA. She folded her arms, clearly unimpressed. You performed direct respiratory transfer when my core was failing. You breathed life into me. My matrix recompiled using your biocode. My system logs confirm it. He blinked at her. Your system logs think I knocked you up. Yes, Cade rubbed his temples. Niari, we're not even the same species. You don't even have... I didn't, she cut in. Until now. For a long, stunned moment, they just stared at each other. Then Cade sighed and muttered, You know, when I was a kid, my mom said I'd make a miracle someday. I just don't think she meant literally, Niari frowned. You think this is amusing? I mean... He gestured vaguely at her glowing midsection. A little? You're 3 feet tall and bioluminescent. And you're telling me my CPR turned into a space baby. You have to admit, it's a hell of a story. She shot him a look that could vaporize asteroids. You humans and your humor reflex. You face impossible existential events and respond with sarcasm. Better than panicking, he said with a shrug. I am panicking. Yeah, he said, smiling faintly. But you're cute when you do it. Her glow flared pink. That is not scientifically relevant. Neither is alien pregnancy by mouth to mouth, he shot back. Hours later, Niari had strapped herself to every scanner on the ship, muttering data into her wrist console while Cade sat nearby, arms crossed, trying not to look worried. So? He asked. She exhaled slowly. My inner matrix is replicating on a cellular level. My reproductive engine, which was inert since birth, is active. In English, please. I am producing life. Cade frowned. Like actual life? Not metaphorical or data-based or quantum-coded nonsense. Her eyes softened. It's real, Cade, I can feel it. He rubbed the back of his neck. And you're... Sure, it's mine. She blinked, confused. You are the only human I've merged resonance with. Unless you have been sharing respiration elsewhere? He coughed. No, ma'am. Full-time oxygen donor, right here. She tilted her head. You do not appear distressed. Oh, I'm distressed, he said. But I'm also terrified, fascinated, and a little flattered. I mean, you're incredible, Niari. And if your body decided to make something out of us, well... She stared at him. You accept this? I accept that I have no idea what's happening, he said. But running away never fixed anything. Not for me, her lips curved into a faint smile. Your species is absurd. Yep. And somehow we keep surviving. Later that night, Cade was working on repairing the power relay when he heard her calling softly from the medbay. Cade? He wiped grease from his hands and walked over. What's up? She was sitting on the scanner bed, small hands resting on her stomach. Her glow pulsed gently like a heartbeat. Would you like to see it? See what? She gestured toward the projection panel. A shimmering hologram appeared, tiny, radiant, pulsing with faint energy. It's beautiful, Cade whispered. It's unstable, Niari said. Half of its code is human. The other half, unknown. He grinned weakly. So it's taking after me already. She looked up at him, eyes glimmering. You joke even now? He smiled. It's how I breathe. Her expression softened. Then keep joking. I like the sound. Over the next few days, things only got stranger. For one, Niari's appetite tripled. She started craving electromagnetic pulses. At one point, Cade caught her licking the ship's reactor core and muttering, Don't look, I'm nesting. He raised an eyebrow. Should I, get you a pillow? She spun around, cheeks pink. This is biological necessity. Sure. You keep telling yourself that, Sparkplug. I told you not to call me that. He grinned. And yet you light up every time I do. Her glow flared bright pink again. Human, yeah? Shut up. Then came the morning sickness, or rather, energy destabilization phase. Every few hours, she'd short-circuit small parts of the ship. Lights flickered. Gravity reversed. Once Cade found himself floating upside down while she burped out a spark the size of a toaster. Feeling okay? He asked dryly. Define okay, she groaned, hanging in the air like a glowing balloon. He grabbed her ankle to steady her. If you start glowing brighter, I'm installing sunglasses as ship equipment. You're not funny. You keep saying that, and yet you're smiling. She rolled her eyes. You are. Infuriatingly comforting, he winked. Yeah, it's a curse. That night, as the ship drifted through the quiet dark, Niari sat watching the stars, one hand on her stomach. Do you think... She began softly. It will be like you? Or like me? He shrugged. Knowing our luck. Probably neither. Probably something that'll sass both of us before it can talk. She giggled quietly. You are not wrong. Hey, he said more gently now. You okay with this? Really? She nodded slowly. I was made in a lab, Cade. They told me I was incapable of continuing the line. No, I am carrying life. Even if it ends tomorrow, that is enough. He looked at her with something halfway between awe and ache. You really mean that? Yes, because of you. Me? She smiled faintly. You didn't just give me breath, Cade. You gave me the idea that I could be more than a weapon. He swallowed. Nyari, don't ruin it with humor, she warned gently. He grinned, eyes soft. Wouldn't dream of it. But fate, as always, had a sense of humor crueler than his. The ship's sensors suddenly screamed to life. A massive gravitational field locked onto them. Spark plug? He said, checking the radar. We've got company, she frowned. Impossible. The tribunal released us. Yeah, well, someone didn't get the memo. A large vessel appeared ahead. Dark, jagged, pulsing with energy. Nyari's glow dimmed. It's not them. It's worse. Worse than the 3 space judges who tried to vaporize me. These are collectors, she whispered. They harvest hybrid life forms. He stiffened. So they want the baby, she nodded grimly. And me. He slammed a hand on the control panel. Not happening. They plunged into evasive maneuvers, the small ship weaving through asteroid belts. Plasma fire streaked past. Cade gritted his teeth, every nerve screaming as the hull rattled. Nyari's voice trembled. They're locking on! He barked. Then tell them to get in line. The console sparked. Warning lights flared. Cade! She cried. We can't outrun them. He grinned madly. Who said anything about outrunning? He flipped a switch, ejecting the main coolant vents. Plasma vented into space, igniting in a brilliant explosion that blinded the pursuing ship. The collectors swerved. Too late. Their vessel clipped an asteroid and detonated. The shockwave sent Cade and Nyari's ship spinning into the void. When they finally stabilized, Cade was panting, soaked in sweat, knuckles white on the controls. Nyari stared at him, wide-eyed. You're insane, he smiled faintly. Yeah, but we're alive. Her glow softened. You risked everything. For you? Always. Her breath hitched. Why? He leaned closer. Because the moment I breathed life into you, I think you breathed something right back into me. Her eyes widened. You mean? Yeah, he said quietly. Love, or whatever alien word you've got for it. Her glow flared, soft and warm. In my tongue. We call it Sithar. It means the one I resonate with. He smiled. Then you're my Sithar, she laughed softly. You say it wrong. I'll keep practicing. They drifted together in the dark, holding hands as stars reflected off the glass. Her pulse matched his again, steady, unified. After a while, she whispered, Cade, it's moving, he blinked. The baby? She nodded, eyes shining with wonder. It's strong, he grinned. Just like its mom. And reckless, she added. Yeah, definitely like its mom. She giggled, leaning against his shoulder. Human? Yeah, thank you. For what? For giving me more than breath. He smiled softly. You gave me more than reason. Outside, the universe kept spinning, cold, endless, uncaring. But inside that tiny ship, there was warmth. A glow. A heartbeat made of 2 species, 1 accident, and 1 impossible miracle. And in the silence between the stars, a small laugh echoed, part human, part alien, entirely alive. The first thing Cale heard that morning was a scream, not a battle scream, not an alarm, but something worse. It was a tiny, high-pitched yell that came from the kitchen. Kyle! The bread attacked me again. He shot upright, slamming his head on the ceiling vent. The sound of chaos followed. Something sizzling, something squelching, and then a very alien insult in a language the translator refused to process. And that was how the man who accidentally impregnated an alien through mouth-to-mouth found himself half-naked. Sprinting into the kitchen to save breakfast, Zalara stood on the counter holding a spatula like a plasma blade. The toaster smoked ominously beside her. I told it to pop, and it did. Right in my face! She shouted, pointing accusingly at the toaster as if it had committed a war crime. This thing's got vengeance issues. Kyle rubbed his temples. It's a toaster, Z, not a sentient death trap. Oh yeah? She huffed, squinting at it. Then why did it bite me? You stuck your fingers in the slot again, didn't you? No. Zilara, maybe. He sighed and picked her up before she could start another argument with the appliance. Her tiny hands clutched the spatula defensively, but she softened as he blew the smoke out of her face. You're impossible, he said. I'm adorable, she countered, puffing out her chest. That's not a defense in a kitchen fire. Then maybe you shouldn't have made me breakfast-sized, she snapped, crossing her arms, looking down at her small belly, which, much to Cale's mix of awe and terror, had started to show a subtle curve. It had been a month since the respiration incident. Since then, Zilara had started experiencing symptoms no medbay scanner could explain. Look, Kyle said, holding her at eye level. The doctor said they're still running tests. You might not even be pregnant. It could just be, a gas bubble? She said deadpan. Or interspecies digestion complications. She narrowed her eyes. Or a miracle. Cale had no comeback for that one. That day, they visited the Starport Medical Center again. Zilara rode in Cale's jacket pocket, still refusing to wear anything resembling standard clothing. She claimed fabric makes her itchy. He claimed she was just doing it to make him blush. Mr. Cale Dross, the AI receptionist chimed, and companion Zilara of Vein Sector, confirming you are here for a prenatal. Cale coughed so hard he almost rebooted the terminal. Checkup. Regular checkup. Zilara just smirked. Go ahead. Tell them how I miraculously conceived after your mouth-to-mouth heroics. The receptionist blinked. That phrase has been logged for medical context. Cale facepalmed. Inside the examination bay, Dr. Niv, a holographic medcore unit with the bedside manner of a disappointed librarian, scanned Zilara's abdomen. After a long silence, the machine spoke. Fascinating. Kyle swallowed hard. That's not a word I like hearing from doctors. Fascinating, it repeated, because there appears to be a developing life form, partially containing your DNA. Kyle froze. What? Zilara's antennae twitched. So you're saying I'm carrying his baby? In a technical sense, Dr. Niv confirmed, though the biological process involved defies current xenobiological models. Kyle looked like he'd just been sentenced to interstellar child support. The next few minutes were chaos. Zilara danced around the room chanting, I'm pregnant. I'm pregnant. Cale slumped in the corner muttering, I'm doomed. I'm doomed. You should be honored, she said, climbing up his chest to look him in the eye. Do you know what this means for my people? That I'm going to get blamed for intergalactic genetic contamination. That I'm finally whole. Her tone softened. My species lost the ability to reproduce centuries ago, Cale. You fixed that. Kyle blinked, taken aback by her sincerity. I didn't mean to. I know. She smiled. That's what makes it special. By the time they got home, the news had already spread across 3 sectors. A human had accidentally impregnated a Vaynite, something previously thought impossible. Within hours, reporters, scientists, and religious cultists all demanded interviews. Cale disconnected his comms, bolted his door, and poured himself a drink. Zilara climbed up beside his glass, kicked her feet in the condensation, and said, Well, we're famous. I was hoping for the kind of fame where I didn't get chased by fertility cults. Kyle muttered. Too late, Daddy. He nearly choked on his drink. Don't call me that, she grinned. What? It's accurate now, he pointed at her. I'm starting to think you enjoy watching me have a nervous breakdown. Oh, I do. It's how I show affection. As the galaxy debated the miracle pregnancy, Kyle and Zilara settled into an odd rhythm, half domestic, half absurd. She insisted on nesting in a cereal box. He built her a custom pod out of his old drone casing. She demanded space pickles at midnight. He bribed smugglers to get them. Every day felt like a blend of chaos, affection, and endless teasing. One night, while they watched the twin moons rise, Zilara leaned against his neck and whispered, Do you regret saving me? He looked down at her, his expression soft. Not for a second, even though I ruined your quiet life. He chuckled. Z, my life wasn't quiet before you, it was empty. A rare silence filled the ship. No jokes, no teasing, just shared breathing and starlight, Zilara finally said. When the little one comes, what will you do? Kyle smiled. Guess I'll do what any human would. She tilted her head. Run away screaming? He laughed. No, stay. Try to be a good dad. Or whatever the universe thinks that means now. Her glow brightened faintly, a biological sign of joy. Then maybe. We're both lucky accidents. Yeah, he said. But I wouldn't change a thing. Suddenly, a loud ping echoed through the comms. Incoming transmission. Vane Prime Authority, Kiel groaned. What now? Zilara's eyes widened. That's my planet's ruling council. A massive hologram filled the cabin, a council of towering alien elders. Human Kyle Dross, the eldest, spoke. You have achieved what no Vaynite or human ever has. You are hereby summoned to Vane Prime to discuss repopulation treaties. Kale blinked. Repopulation, wait, treaties? Plural, Zalara smirked. Congratulations, hero. You're officially breeding stock. Kale buried his face in his hands. I knew I should have let the toaster kill me. CTA, closing hook. As their ship soared toward Vane Prime, one human, one tiny alien, and one unborn miracle. The galaxy watched with breathless anticipation. Kale wasn't sure if he was heading toward love, disaster, or both. Zalara just smiled, rubbing her small belly. Don't worry, she whispered. Whatever happens next, you're already marked. And somewhere in the distance, a billion beings tuned in to the greatest romantic accident in the galaxy's history.